Welcome to another episode of Connect the Dots. Today I'm joined by Brian. Brian, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Jack. I appreciate it.
Brian, why don't you just give us a bit of a synopsis about you and some of the amazing works that you're doing over at 42 Connect?
Yeah, that's great. Right now, I'm the one of the founding partners of 42 Connect. We're a digital marketing company, digital marketing agency. We work with all different types of businesses to help them kind of generate leads, get found online. We do this through a combination of SEO, PPC, and now AEO. We also have a strong background in website design and development, do a lot of conversion optimization, but really focus on lead generation for our clients. I head strategy for a lot of our clients as well. So I'm developing the strategy and then having the team execute on it.
Nice.
And that's pretty much 42 Connect.
Yeah, man. And what inspired you to start the agency, Brian?
Yeah, good question. Started it almost 25 years ago. Was working as a designer, a digital designer, web designer, and ended up getting let go from my position as the company was downsizing, and was in my early 20s and figured this is as good a time as any to start my own
Yeah,
business.
good for you.
Very, yeah, low risk at the time, and decided to go off on my own and give it a shot. And 25 years later, here we are, still kind of plugging along.
Amazing.
I just really liked, I was really passionate about the creative end of things. I went to school for art and design, and was really, that was my thing for a long time was design. And then we transitioned into digital marketing and really starting to help clients in the long term and not just on a short term basis, and understanding that once we design or develop a website, how can we use that as a tool to help them grow their business, and kind of fell in love with marketing at that point.
Yeah.
And that was probably 10 or 15 years ago now. And really just been, knee deep in trying to always solve that problem for every client. Every client has a unique situation,
Yeah.
and kind of peeling back the layers and trying to understand their clients, what copy resonates, how do they interact with the website, how do they think, and how do they go about the internet, and how can we capture that audience?
Yeah, I was going to ask about that actually. Just for our audience and those who don't know, what challenges are you guys solving?
Yeah, great question. And a lot of times the challenges are just understanding the client's market and understanding their client base, right?
Yeah.
So we're working with all different types of businesses, and a lot of what we're doing is on the B2B side, and they need lead generation in through their website, so inbound leads. And really just trying to understand, let's say, a manufacturing company who manufactures large scale gears. How do their clients think? How do they interact with the
Yeah.
internet, the web? How are they using AI potentially nowadays to kind of do their research and find business in that sector's kind of evolved, and it's evolving kind of rapidly,
Yeah.
especially in that space.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are some of the challenges that we kind of face every day, is just
Yeah.
understanding the audience, and how they kind of search and interact with the website or search engines.
What do you think separates digital marketing it's noisier than ever. What are businesses still getting wrong? What do you see the most common pitfalls and challenges our businesses are doing wrong?
Yeah, great question. Again, I think it really a lot of times boils down back to the basics, right?
Right.
What they're getting wrong is messaging on their website potentially,
Right.
not making a clear path to conversion, and making it really difficult for users to find what they need. Have them fill out a form, and make it really simple, or have a phone number that they can call. Having really good landing pages, even from on the SEO side, a lot of times the entry point is not the homepage, right? It's a search term, and understanding how people are searching using Google, for example, and making sure that you have pages dedicated to that, and understanding that that's going to be their entry point. And can we give them the information they need quickly, and concise, and have it make sense, and have them get to a form as quickly as possible to get that conversion or that lead.
Yeah, 100%. And you touched on the how the industry is changing. Has AI changed digital marketing, and has AI changed the industry over the last couple of years?
Yeah, it certainly has, and it's starting. It's continuously evolving. So I think it's probably the rapid change in how it operates the landscape, right, and how people are using it. But it's definitely impacted digital marketing, how we go about it, understanding that we have to start to optimize content around these search engines and what are the search engines looking for, what are they, or not the search engines, the AI agents and the different platforms, how are they um, looking at the content throughout the web, and how can we curate our content to feed into that and make sure that we're being found. So yeah, it's definitely changed how we go about it. I think it's changing behavior online as well on how people, find answers and do research, and it's starting to pull traffic away from a lot of websites as well, because they're able to get their answers or do their research right in, ChatGPT, for example, or Gemini,
Yeah.
and not having to click through and go to the website potentially. So
Yeah.
it captures a lot of that high funnel traffic right off the bat, and I think it's important that your business is being found there.
Yeah, absolutely. Is that where a lot of people find information now? It seems like a silly question, but for those who don't know, is a lot of are a lot of companies going to things like ChatGPT and Claude to find out a lot of answers?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just becoming more and more. And I think people thought that would take longer for a B2B or an industry that's doing manufacturing, for example, to do research in ChatGPT as opposed to
Yeah.
going into Google. But it's exactly what they're doing, and they're going there and they're asking questions and they're getting answers, or they're doing research in one of these AI engines before they ever get to your website. So they already have a foundation of what they're looking for and understand what they're looking for. So you got to really make sure that your website has that information that they need. And so you're being
100%.
found in those AI engines, and then B, when they get to your site, that it better be really dialed in that this is the information they were looking for, so you can capture that lead.
100%. And I guess everyone defines success different. How do you go about defining, marketing success? Is it results? Is it ROI? Is it, clicks? How do you go about defining, marketing success?
Yeah, I think every situation's a little bit different.
Mm,
A lot of our clients and what we work with is really trying to define that right up front and setting some expectations, right? So like, what does success mean for our clients? And then customizing our KPIs around that. What are we
yeah,
measuring? Why is it important? I would say for a lot of clients, it is, it's not only volume of leads, but it starts to become quality of leads. And then trying to work with a lot of these small and medium sized businesses that take those leads and follow them all the way through the sales pipeline, so we can see an ROI, right? And I think that's the beauty of digital marketing, is we have all the data. There's nothing really to hide behind.
yeah,
We're really transparent in our reporting. Reporting is a really big aspect of what we do as an agency, to make sure we have good, clean data, that our attribution models are in line, and the client understands what those attribution models are. And then we're taking them and really defining results. We got this many leads. What was the quality of those leads? And I think the optimization over time is really dialing in the quality of lead. And it's not just about volume, right? So if I give you,
yeah.
five really good quality leads as opposed to 25 that aren't good, like, right, the five good ones are going to win every time.
Yeah, quality over quantity. You touched on something earlier. You started a business at such a young age, which I think is super inspiring because I think a lot of people, particularly, are scared to take risks. And start their own business or do X, Y, and Z. What is a lesson that you've learned throughout the years of entrepreneurship, Brian? Is there anything that you'd like to share on some of the lessons that you've learned along the way?
I've made a lot of mistakes, that's for sure. So I think I have a lot of lessons that were learned along the way. And I think you touch on something um, that really is important, and I think it's about calculated risk, right? And at some point, you have to take a leap of faith in whatever you're doing, whether it's your career path or you're starting a business. Obviously, it should be calculated, and it should be based on some really quality data that you're making decisions on. But at the end of the day, I think there's a leap of faith there that you know, I'm going to do this. Yeah, I'm going to take a certain amount of risk, and I'm willing to do that. And hey, if it doesn't work or it quote unquote fails, what can I learn from that situation, apply it to my next situation, and continuously move forward? I
Yeah,
think those are the moments that define us. Is not the success. It's easy to
yeah,
you know kind of keep pushing forward when things are going well. I think it's when things start to get rough and you have setbacks or you
yeah.
have adversity. Those are
Mm.
the moments. How do you deal with adversity? How do you pick yourself up? How do you keep going forward in those hard times? I think is way more important than how you act and how you proceed when things are going well.
I agree, and I think one thing that I've got better at is in terms of running my own businesses is um, being resilient. And what I mean by that is it used to take me a long time if something went wrong to get back to baseline, whereas I can now return back to baseline a lot quicker. Not to sort of dwell on things. It would normally take me a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But I think that that comes. Um, can you just share with our audience where they can find you, Brian, and your website, please?
Yeah, absolutely. www.42connect.com, the number four, the number two, connect.com. That's our website. It talks about all of our services there, shows you a bunch of case studies and wins that we've had along the way, and a really good client base that we've built over the last 20 years.
Nice. And I was going to ask you on that. Do you have any success stories that you'd like to share? You don't have to give us names or specifics, but is there any, is there any stories or successes that stand out to you, Brian?
Yeah, there's definitely a couple. The couple that come to mind, they're two completely different industries, but we worked with an e-commerce company that was starting from scratch. They were in the B2B space and wanted to go to D2C, so direct to consumer. They approached us about the idea, and we really embraced it, and wanted to kind of develop a proof of concept before we really went all in. So it was almost like this startup mentality. It was like, hey, let's get a site up that can sell your product, see where it goes, and see what kind of interest there was. We did a lot of market research and determined like, hey, there's opportunity here. We built something, people bought it. From there, we were able to scale it.
Yeah.
We did, PPC and SEO for them, and we're able to, have some amazing success on the SEO side where we are outranking Home Depot, Lowe's, Amazon for some certain keywords, which I think was a really huge win.
Amazing.
And so that's kind of a feather in our cap that we really liked. The other one is more, in a boring industry and in a B2B space, where we're talking about manufacturing. And again, we started working with this client over 7 years ago now. They've been a longstanding client of ours, but had never done digital marketing, really didn't understand it, and really didn't see the value in their space.
Yeah.
And they took a leap of faith in us and some trust in us, and again, we were outranking OEMs for what they were serving. We, generated over $1 million worth of leads for their
Wow.
business in one
That's
year,
amazing.
right? And so, hearing that story from directly from the client and them telling us that, and just saying, look, month over month, like we couldn't do it without you guys, and that's kind of where we want to be, and the philosophy that we have is like we want to build success for clients to the point where it's like they can't live without our service, they can't live
Yeah,
without us, right? And you don't get that home run every single time, but that's the goal. We're trying to get
of
to that
course.
point. So those are two big wins that come to mind when you ask me about that.
Thanks, Brian. And finally, we have a lot of C-suite, a lot of founders, but we also have a lot of younger professionals. And something that keeps sticking in my head and how you took that leap of faith at such a young age. Do you have any advice for our younger audience who are maybe thinking about getting into, could be marketing, it could be AI, it could be starting their own business. Do you have any advice for our, our younger audience?
I do, and again, I think something at this point of my career and stage of life, as I kind
Yeah,
of look back and look at things, I would say there's two things, and they're not always easy to do, but really it's be consistent, right? Wake up every day, and it's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy, so be consistent. Show up every day, and keep plowing ahead. And I think everyone's looking for that big home run, that overnight success, or hey, we're going to double our growth in 1 year. And if that doesn't happen, it's viewed as a negative or a failure. And I think it's great to have goals, but I also think it's just way more important to really be consistent and just keep taking one step in front of the other, and it doesn't always have to be the big home run.
yeah.
Yeah, there's different ways to grow, and you can hit home runs, and that's great. But I think for someone who's just starting out, I think being consistent and just, as I kind of say, quote unquote, show up every day with everything you got.
Brian, thank you so much, buddy. I've got some amazing content